Hi, Tom.
Hi there.
Okay, are we all set?
Tom's here, so we can get started.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order at 7:02. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Tom,
Yes.
could you please turn down your whatever your streaming
Yes.
meeting? Thank you.
Yes, I did. Okay.
I know, that's what I thought too. Okay. Oh, I forgot my.
When is that Title IX training you wanted me to hold?
So the first thing on the agenda is the points of pride. Superintendent.
Thank you. So, at Antrim Elementary School, they have returned to hosting a bi-weekly community meeting school-wide on Friday mornings. The whole school comes together on those days to an assembly that's hosted by all the different classrooms, and families are also invited to those so that they can attend. Hancock Elementary School, the Harvest Dinner and Silent Auction was on September 27th at Hancock Elementary School, and it was a huge success. About 200 people came out to enjoy the soups, salads, and desserts made by our amazing students. A huge thank you to everyone who donated food for that. At Peterborough Elementary School, on Friday, September 30th, 43 kindergarten students, along with their teachers and chaperones, walked into Peterborough to visit the Peterborough Town Library, the fire department, and the post office. This was their first school field trip, and it was a great success. And then on Thursday, September 22nd, PES held its annual Title I meeting, and that was followed by its open house. Great turnout for both events, and with the largest parent attendance at any of the Title I meetings we've had in 5 years. So good job, Peterborough Elementary School. And finally, say that again? Skadjakar. Apologize, Rachel. Have been named commended students for the 2023 National Merit Scholarship Program. To qualify for that, you achieve academic excellence and receive commendation letters from the high school and the National Merit Scholarship Program. They are 2 of 34,000 commended students throughout the nation. Congratulations. And those are our points of pride. Rachel, I apologize again for mispronouncing your name.
Thank you, Superintendent. Quite a lot to be proud of. This brings us to our first period of public comment. We invite the public to address the board. We're always happy to hear from our communities. We ask you to abide by our policy. And is there anybody here that would like to address the board? Okay, please step up to the microphone. Make sure you turn it on. You'll have a 3-minute period to make your comment. We won't talk to you, but please, we're happy to have you talk to us. At the end of those 3 minutes, if you're not finished with your address, the board can vote to give you an additional 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Did you turn your microphone on?
I did push it.
Okay.
Green light.
Yeah.
I'll put it right here. Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Matt Craig. I have one student at Convale High School, and I've appeared before this board exactly twice as a resident. I'm here to talk about the e-hall pass at Convale High School and how it's affected kids there. I'm not going to talk about why it was put into place because, frankly, I don't know all the details. I'm going to tell you about the system as I understand it and how it's broken and implore you to do something about it. So right now there's a system in place that is again, in my turn, from my understanding, is broken. If you talk to the kids that are at Convale High School about this, especially girls, they will tell you things like kids are skipping water breaks because they can't get to a bathroom in time in between classes. They're unable to maneuver through this system with teachers who either don't understand the process or administrators that aren't executing it properly. There's a lot of differences between how it's handled on the ground versus what's actually in the policy and in the books. So I took a look at the for the first time, I actually mapped out the schedule of the blocks, the periods in between, and what the policy says, and tried to figure out, okay, what's actually going on. Is it possible that, these kids are just under a lot of stress? Maybe it's not the problem I think it is. And I wish I had been able to print this out before I got here. All I have it on is a laptop. But if you look at this, if you can see this, you can see a lot of red. From where you are, you probably just see a red and a couple bands. The green bands in here are where it's possible with the policy to actually use a restroom, just by policy. Now, whether or not you can get there or not is a completely different story. If you run the numbers, and I did on this spreadsheet, and again, I apologize, wasn't able to get it printed out, you'll find out that it's almost impossible to get the number of kids through a bathroom break system in between classes. There just aren't enough. I could go on. I've broken it up into the periods in between classes, the periods in classes after instruction time, because there is a block there, and then lunchtime. It's a capacity issue. It's not, I don't think it's intentional, but the bottom line is the kids at the ground floor are having issues, and to me, it's a health issue, because you shouldn't have to withhold being able to do bodily functions because of a policy. So my goal with this is to put this before the board. It's a health issue. It's not being fixed, in my opinion, and I'd like the high school to do something about it in a positive way. Thank you.
Is your address finished, Mr. Craig?
Yeah, that's.
We could grant you another 3 minutes if you feel like you need another.
I think I'm all set.
Okay.
I think I've said what needs to be said.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board? Okay, so we'll go on to our next agenda item, which is the consent agenda. The minutes from the September 20th meeting are on the consent agenda, and under personnel, I believe there are 2 retirements and 2 resignations, or 1 resignation.
I think there's an addendum in
Yeah.
your purple folder.
Right.
So you have in June of 2024, we have Michelle Bresnovic, Larry Burgoyne, Donna Clark.
Okay, so there's 3 June 2024 retirements and 1 resignation, and then the co-curricular notifications. Stephen?
I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you all what an exceptional and beneficial force Carol Storrow has been in the Antrim schools, and so I'm saddened to see her resignation.
Thank you. Liz?
And I just wanted to say for TES, Donna Clark will be very missed and as well.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so.
And we love Michelle Bresnovic as well as we also think very highly of Larry, so I don't want anyone to feel left out.
Yeah, we're very sad to see all these teachers go, but at least we've got 3 of them until June 2024, so Good for us. So the consent agenda passes. The next thing on the agenda is the superintendent's report and presentation of business, starting with school board requests.
Okay, we do have one outstanding school board request related to assignment of principals. So we are working through that as we develop the budget already. Monthly events calendar prior to our next meeting. Oh, I do have a question for me or? Okay, sorry. All right, so, are there any other school board requests outstanding that I don't know about or that have like somehow gone over my head? Okay. We need to have 2 public hearings, okay? So one for expenditure of trust fund money related to, a necessary piece of equipment. The second is to expend unanticipated revenue from extraordinary need grants from the Department of Education. And then 2 weeks following that, so we can have those both if it's okay with the board. We can have both of those public hearings on the 18th. 2 weeks following that, prior to our board meeting, we need to have a special meeting related to the extraordinary need grants. So,
I move that we accept that schedule and schedule our public hearings for proper public notice.
so it's okay to do the public hearings on the 18th prior to the meeting and the special meeting. I just want to clarify what your motion is. Special meeting prior to November 1.
Oh, it's November 1. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Catherine, Kira seconded.
Okay, and in your folder is the enrollment as of October 1. We are obviously still in the process of making just a few changes that are not reflected on here yet. So happy to answer
Didn't
any.
vote, I know.
Oh,
I was waiting.
I'm sorry.
Okay, can we take a vote on the motion to hold the October 18th and the special meeting for the expenditures on November 1st? All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Unanimous.
My apologies for that. The October 1 enrollment is in your packet. And I'm happy to answer any questions on the calendar, board requests, or October 1 enrollment at this time. So as we have discussed, there are some changes happening, and those changes are still being worked out through contractual obligations. So,
Which brings us to reports. The first report we have is from Catherine Craig. October 1st monthly. Did we
yeah,
do them?
on November, well, I don't know that was not, that has not been communicated to the administration, that is the date of the meeting. We assume it always is, but that has not been communicated to us as of right now. So it's the board's meeting.
Usually the first Saturday. Okay. And that is November 5th. November 5th. So our annual first budget meeting, November 5th, Kimberly?
So I just want to bring people's attention to the fact that our business administrator is not available on Saturdays.
So our alternative would be a night meeting? Because we have board members that work.
It's still, I mean, the decision is the board. I just want to make sure the board knows that she is unable to attend.
So what is the board good with the business administrator not being at the budget development meeting? Our alternative is to meet in the evening, probably starting at 5 o'clock in order to get a full meeting in. Can I see like a show of hands? How many people will want to meet on Saturday without the business administrator? 1. How many? 2, okay.
I'm assuming the business administrator is normally at this meeting,
Yes,
and it's good for this person to be at this meeting.
yes.
And if if the business administrator is not at the meeting, does that slow down the meeting at all?
Yes, because normally there are lots, this is the first budget development meeting and there are lots of questions. So yes, it's pretty crucial that she be there. Krista, did you have something? Oh, okay. Okay, and Greg is also twisting his hair. Okay, so we have 3 people that are Doug, no, just 2 people. Dick.
Just a follow-up question. The budget meeting is to talk about the presentation of the administrators to the board on their proposed budgets.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
My belief is that questions we might have around that could be answered by the superintendent. That once that budget is set in place, it's sort of a different stage of looking at the budget. My belief is we could do it on a Saturday with the superintendent being there due to the fact that we're having a presentation of the budgets from the administration. And that's more of an intake, and any questions that we might ask, I would believe the superintendent would already have anticipated those questions. So I think we could do it on a Saturday, so I would vote in favor of that, based on my own experience in the past of what those look like.
Okay. Kimberly, what's your answer to that?
I just want to make sure that people realize that Lori is not going to be there. And you know, it is a Saturday. I am happy to meet. It is typically that Saturday. It is the administration's presentation of the budget, which is what I present that and have ever since I've been the superintendent, I'm pretty sure. No, maybe not maybe 1 year Marion did it my very first year, but so that's possible. It's just important that you know that she won't be there.
Steve,
Might it be possible to have a Friday night meeting, maybe starting at 5 and continuing on till 9 or 10? The budget workshop
I
lasted
think that
about
would be
7 hours.
very
I thought, the last
unpopular.
time.
okay, let's do Saturday again. How many people are good with meeting on Saturday without the business administrator? 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll count myself 5. How many?
6.
It was 6? Somebody else had their name, or did I count wrong? Oh, I read my rules today and it said I should always vote. Okay, so how many people prefer to meet in an evening with the business administrator? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did somebody not vote? I only got 11 votes. All right, Doug. So Tom, can you talk?
I'm
or is
okay
he
either
gone?
way, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
All right, wait a minute.
Hey, no,
We have 2.
there's no such thing as a baby.
So I'll put here with 6. Okay, Dick.
Superintendent,
Yes.
if my view of that meeting is incorrect,
Nope.
I don't think so.
Completely
I
accurate.
think board members that have done this for a long time,
Hmm?
the Saturday meeting, unless there's something about Saturday,
Okay.
the Saturday meeting or some other night meeting, we're gonna get the same information that the superintendent is going to be able to respond to. That's, it's just intake. From that, then there's a different approach when the business manager would be a critical part. But at this point, the superintendent should be able to answer our questions, or administrators. So, I mean, I just think it makes more sense on a Saturday. A Friday night, I'm not up for that one. I'll tell you that right now. So anyway.
Okay.
that's the-
Okay, one more comment, Kevin.
I voted for the Saturday meeting, and it's no slight on Lori at all. It's just in the last 2 years,
Yeah.
it's been Kimberly.
Yeah. Okay,
Kimberly
so,
talks to us and she answers our questions. That's
Right.
what we do.
okay, so we're gonna go the Saturday one. So even with the two not really votings, Saturday, we're good with Saturday. Saturday, November 5th, is our budget, our first budget development meeting. Jim?
You ask every year, and every year I say, well, uh, let's talk. You and I can talk after, but I do not think that this year it's going to be possible for a whole variety of reasons. But I promise you'll have them on Saturday morning, and if you want to come at 6 a.m., they'll be here waiting for you. 5:30.
Okay, did we skip the monthly calendars? We also have, and we'll
No,
get to this.
remember we decided we were going to just go and let
okay.
anything needed to be added.
Okay, well, we do need to add that community forum.
It's
Okay,
on
in
the-
November. It's in November and we,
Third.
oh, we're going with the 3rd? Oh, okay.
Definitely not getting that book.
I'm sorry?
I said he's definitely not getting his book now.
We got enough of that. We're going on the third.
Okay, so the community forum, will be on the 3rd and you'll hear more about what we're gonna do for the community forum in a little while. Okay, right now, we'd like to hear from Catherine Craig, our student representative.
Okie dokie. So things going on at Conval for the past 2 weeks. We had lots of yellow around the school Friday, which showed support for suicide prevention, which was very good to see. New Hampshire Tackles Hunger wraps up with 1,840 pounds of food and $507 in donations, which is all going to the Peterborough Food Bank. The Peterborough Town Library is collaborating with Conval for a student book group, which is also very exciting. I see lots of people interested in that. The 28th, we had a parent session for the college app process where we went over the different like websites and all that go into that process. For sports and co-curriculars, we had a unified soccer scrimmage against the JV girls soccer team, which went very well, and the Spirit team made an appearance to cheer on the unified team. The volleyball team are now record breakers as of Friday for the most, I'm pretty sure it's the most games won in a season for Conval, and we're not even done with the season, which is also exciting. Field hockey had Pink Night September 27th, which raised money for breast cancer awareness. And then we have a group of students who are organizing a cleanup of the courtyard next to the cafeteria, which is fun, and we're thinking of plans of ways to make that space more used. And that's all.
Thank you, Catherine.
Jack's doing very well, I wish I could say. He's thriving.
It's staying longer. Okay, do we have a teacher representative? You're welcome. You don't have to. We don't have a teacher representative. Okay, and next is the Communication Committee, and Ellen will be.
I will try to keep this as short as possible, but it won't be. On, just to warn you, on September 29th or 28th, I sent out a thing on, school board committee interim report, which gave, pretty much a synopsis of what the communications committee meeting was about. So I don't know if people have read it, but I will go over some key items. The first one's going to be the community forum. I'll go through some bullets on it. 2-hour time limit for the formal forum, which is the same thing we've done for the previous 3 of them. We're planning on starting it at 6 versus 7 and getting a lot more folks to come because 7 to 9 is sometimes a little late for them. And the date of the forum is scheduled now, or committed to, on the 3rd, which is 3rd of November, which is a Thursday. The topics for the forum will have, first one is going to be the renovation of the middle school, ATC, and high school. There will be a presentation and a Q&A, and I think Jim is going to be here to do that. Good. I'm sorry? Yep. And the second one, which will be a long one, is going to be on the strategic plan. And we're hoping to have a joint presentation by the administration and the board. Administration, as usual, is happy to do so. So we're going to need volunteers from the board to do a presentation. And again, it'll follow the same format, will be presentation and question and answer. Then we'll have a open question and answer period. And the last thing we're going to have is a upcoming activities, notes, we'll make note about them, and we'll make it available electronically. It'll be done as a wrap-up for the forum. So it's really pretty much telling people what our upcoming activities are going to be. There's 2 new items that I want to talk about for a minute, and one of them is on childcare. And I'm going to break these apart because sometimes we put them together. Should we or should we not provide? We did this before in the first forum, and nobody took advantage of it. And we go back and forth as to the reasoning behind this, and I firmly believe, and there could be other opinions on there, is one of the reasons is a 5-letter word, which is called COVID, is that COVID was there, and I don't think people really wanted to have children come into the forum. Now, the thing would be is that if we can get people to come, and I would think maybe we can put out a questionnaire to ask people if they would take advantage of the child care and then play it. If we get no responses, we won't have child care. But if we can get people to come in, that would be a wonderful idea. The second thing will be what we call a meet and greet. And this is why we want to have it starting at 6. And it will go on to 9. The meet and greet would be taking place from 8 to 9 at night. And what that would be is an informal get-together in possibly the cafeteria, although we haven't figured out exactly the spot inside the building, where members of the audience and members of the school board and administration can get together as an informal type chat and really maybe get to know each other, and also that gives them an opportunity to talk to each other. I would like to take a minute and defer to Liz for a second on the importance of having people attend the in-house. And since Liz is in this business, she knows a lot more about it than I would ever think that I do. And I think her perspective might be a lot better than I as to why we should have people come in-house and make it easy for them to come in-house. Liz?
Thanks, Alan. So it's my opinion that having a meet and greet after a community forum would be helpful and would help us create connections with the members of our community. And it's that being a school board member for me isn't just about representing the members of my community and the kids that are in my community, but being there for everybody in our district. And creating that sense of trust and building those relationships is really important. And I think when we are able to have an informal setting, we're less intimidating. And I think people would really appreciate the opportunity to speak with us on a personal level and get to know us and a little bit more in depth about what's going on, and for us to really listen to them in a meaningful way. And for us to make that happen, we have to be present, and we have to create opportunities to invite them in many different ways. And I also believe that childcare is a great idea. I know that no one took advantage of it the first time around, and I think there are many factors as to why that was. But I think we have to leave the door open to create connection and have those relationships with people in our communities. I would love to see more people come to our school board meetings. I would love to see more people in person attendance in our community forums, because that's why we have them. And so by creating an opportunity to connect with people, it is my hope that more people would actually come and experience not only the forum, but come and stay for a little while and have a cup of coffee or decaf or tea or, whatever it is. So that's my 2 cents. And back to you, Alan.
Well, thank you. I think just to one little follow-up on that is that in-house attendance, meet and greet, and the child care all somehow go together, but they are a little bit separate. We do want to have, I think as Liz said, a better in-house representation, because it gives people a lot better chance to actually ask questions and be a part of the system itself. Although we do have quite a good representation in the online. And I still go back to the same thing I said about childcare, is that if you take a look at the 3 forums we had, all 3 of them were done during COVID. And I don't blame anybody for not really wanting to come in-house. Now, what I'd like to do is that those are pretty much the things that we're talking about for the forum. If there's anybody that would like to work with administration on the presentation for the strategic plan, then they can get a hold of me and I'll forward it to Kimberly, and we can see how we can do a co-presentation or 2 little presentations for that. That would do it for that. The other thing we discussed at the committee meeting was articles for publication. And one of the things we're thinking about is that we haven't done very many articles for publication itself. And what we want to do is we outline 5 articles, and I would look for other suggestions, just send them to me, which would be on strategic planning, board goals, the budget, school safety audit, and the last one would be why choose a public school. So these are articles that the communication committee would like to get out. We will schedule them so people can see what they are, and if anybody would want to help contribute to them, we'd be happy as you pick them up. Okay? And the one other thing we did discuss in the meeting was the monthly newsletter, is that we're thinking about putting out a monthly school letter, newsletter. I don't know why I said that one. But a monthly newsletter, which would be a 1-page summary of school board activities for that month. Small, just 1 page, maybe bullet items, things like that. So people who are not able to attend the board meeting would then in turn see what our activities have been for at least 2 of the board meetings that have gone on, and feel a little more included in what our process is. That's it.
Okay.
What I have.
All right, thank you,
Questions?
Alan. Yes, Catherine.
Do we have an action item that was proposed or several that we need to vote on as far as childcare and having,
Well, I think he said he was going to do a survey to see whether
Well,
anybody's going to use it.
No,
I meant
no,
from the
no.
board?
No, Catherine's right, is that would be a survey, I would believe, and I don't think I need a vote on that one, to go out to the general population, okay? The thing would be is that, does the school board want to subscribe to having a childcare? And if that requires a vote, and that would take precedent over news to say me sending out the survey. Because if we decided not even to pursue the childcare, there's no sense in sending out the survey. So if somebody wants to make a motion, I'm tickled pink.
I don't think you need a vote on that. I think that probably you're going to ask the superintendent to do the survey. Is that correct?
I'm not sure.
That's
I
how-
haven't worked through that.
Yeah,
But we'll
well,
figure that out.
I think you would have to ask the superintendent to do that survey. So you would just direct the superintendent to do it. We don't have to vote on that.
Okay.
Kimberly,
I think the committee can direct the work, but not an individual, but, Ellen, I think I have a survey from before.
Yeah,
So
we
we
did
can-
one in
yeah.
the first one.
Right.
Yeah, I
So
have that too, so. Excellent.
I'll work with.
Super.
okay. In order to conduct that meet and greet, of course, everybody would have to be there. So, Kira.
As stated in the Communications Committee meeting, I have a conflict on November 3rd. I will not be able to be in attendance for the entire event. I can try to come for the meet and greet. I will have my exhausted child in tow, so I don't know how long we'll make it.
Yeah, I'm away on a business trip already that whole entire week, so.
I saw that
And
email.
I'm going to be out of town too.
Kevin's out of town. Okay.
I'll be there.
Meeting and greeting. To be there? No.
All right.
Okay, so the next report comes from Kevin Popst for the Selectmen's Advisory Committee.
The Selectmen's Advisory Committee met for its monthly meeting, and Janine and Alan, with little popping in from me, shared with the selectmen who were there the goals that the administration had established for the year, the process by which those goals were established, and the board goals. And then we answered some questions from the selectmen about that.
Thank you, Alan. And I mean, Kevin, sorry. Okay, so and the next report is for the Equity Committee from Liz Swan.
We'll keep this nice and short and sweet. We had a great equity meeting where we discussed the best way to move forward with a subcommittee of sorts for a diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility committee. We've decided to direct the superintendent to have a superintendent's committee to cover this need. And we will have more for you later. But that's where we are with the subcommittee. And that's all she wrote, as they say.
Thank you, Liz. The next thing is the Strategic Plan Committee, and I will give that report. We met on Thursday, September 27th, to review the format from our public relations firm and the current draft. It was discussed. The superintendent gave the committee a deadline to submit comments on that current draft. We also established a timeline for taking us to the final board approval and adoption of the strategic plan. Basically, we're hoping the final draft in its beautiful format will be ready for the public by November 1st, when it will be released to the public. They will have a chance to review it before the November 3rd Community Forum when there will be a presentation on it, and we will be able to collect community feedback. The feedback from the community will be incorporated into the strategic plan, and then a final plan will be ready for the board vote by early December. And after that adoption, we will have a strategic plan. Right now, there is a current draft available online. Is that available to everybody, or was it just just the committee? Okay. Okay, and the final report is from the policy committee from Krista.
So we met this evening. We discussed numerous policies, of which none we could move to a first read. I apologize. One is going to be moved to communications. So Alan, you want to look at your emails because I sent one to you regarding a couple policies. The ever famous student dress code, we will be discussing that at further length with the principals and assistant principals, hopefully at our next meeting. The wellness policy will be heading off to wellness. And public conduct in school, on school property, we're going to table that for a little bit more discussion, and that is what I have for you this evening. And Madam Chair, would you like me just to bounce forward?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So, second read is FF, naming of district buildings and facilities and dedication of areas.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt policy FF.
So moved.
Moved by Liz, seconded by Catherine. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Unanimously adopted.
Policy EBB, school safety.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt policy EBB on school safety. Moved by Catherine, seconded by Alan. All in favor? Any nays? Any abstentions? Unanimously adopted.
Policy JICI, dangerous weapons on school property.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt policy JICI, dangerous weapons on school property.
So moved.
Moved by Liz and seconded by Catherine. Any discussion? All in favor? Any nays? Any abstentions? Unanimously adopted. Thank you, Krista. Is there a legislative update? Oh, Catherine has some. Kimberly, did you have anything?
So, I would yield the floor to Catherine.
Okay.
So, on the legislative front, there, out of the 212 LSRs that have been filed, or legislative service requests, those are before they become into bill formation. 68 of them deal with school districts, so that's probably important to note. And this past Saturday, I was your delegate. You voted to send me to the NHSBA, the New Hampshire School Board Association Delegate Assembly, where we vote on our continuing resolutions and the policies and statements of belief that NHSBA advocates for us and but basically believes in to move public education forward in New Hampshire. I'm not going to call it bad news. The resolution that we submitted was not adopted, and that the board did not recommend it because there's already a resolution that covers it in broader language. So but I think that's okay because there were several safety-related resolutions proposed, and they all kind of fell under that umbrella. So the whole body, the 80 people there felt like that covered it. And I think I will send out the information, but I think it's important to read what NHBA, SBA, and the Delegate Assembly brings forward for their advocacy efforts and the belief statements that other public schools all have a say in before they advocate on our behalf. And I think it's important to note that while NHSBA has pulled out of the National School Boards Association due to some unpleasant press last year, they are working with 25 other states that are looking to establish a new version of that national resource, because following that federal legislation is extremely, extremely important to public education. So they've been working very, very hard on establishing some kind of new national level organization to make sure that, like Little New Hampshire doesn't get left off because we're not up to date on federal issues. So I just thought I would share that. I do have a request of the board. I was wondering if we could take a vote to authorize, whether it's the superintendent or the chairwoman of the board, to write a letter in support of continuing to fund the 7.5% or more toward the New Hampshire retirement system. If we could send that to our legislators now. There is legislation that is going to propose that and showing that we support that early on, and pushing that effort will certainly help in our advocacy to get those dollars. So I would entertain a motion that we do that, and I can work with the chair or the superintendent to do so.
Okay, moved by Stephen Allman. Who seconded? Dick? Greg? Okay, all in favor? Any nays? Abstentions? Okay, any discussion around that letter? Stephen, did you want to?
Something else related to the legislature when it's appropriate.
I'm happy to do it, but that letter should come from the board and not the administration, but.
Okay, I'll write the letter with her.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Stephen, do you have something that's legislative
Legislative.
connected?
Tomorrow night, the District 30, State House District 30 candidates, both the Republicans and the Democrats, will be appearing at the Antrim Town Hall between 6:30 and 8 for Candidates Night. This night is organized by the Antrim Bennington Lions Club. From 6:30 to 7, there'll be a meet and greet. And then from 7 to about 8:15, the candidates will be asked to answer questions. Already education-related questions have come to my email address. So these are, the District 30 consists of Bennington, I think, and Antrim, and I've forgotten the other two. There are other two towns, but they may be Stoddard or Windsor. So tomorrow night, anybody listening, from 6:30 to 8:15, Antrim Town Hall. All 6 of the candidates for the New Hampshire State House District 30 will be appearing for a candidates night.
Thank you, Stephen. That brings us to new business and the committee report template. It has, if you remember a couple of months ago, Catherine and Greg brought a proposal to the board that we do away with our committees and take care of business in our board meetings. I think that that would make our board meetings even longer than they are, would be one problem. But before we go down that route, you still might want to go down that route. But before we do, it occurred to me that the problem is that we're not doing a very good job of reporting about what goes on in the committee meetings. So we'd like to offer a report template, and Alan has put that template out as well as demonstrating the template. I believe you all got a copy. Did you send it to everybody or just the chairs?
No, everybody.
Yeah, everybody. And I'd like to try using that template, and we will set up a special folder in the Google Drive. Is everybody able to use the Google Drive? Yeah, if not, we'll try to figure something else out and put like a very rough draft of Brenda's minutes in there along with the agenda. And hopefully everybody will get a much better idea about what's going on in each of the committees. And they will be more comfortable when they get to the board meeting voting on the different issues that you are asked to vote on. Okay, so we'll try that first. Catherine.
So thank you for putting this together. I think it's very helpful. I did want to point out that the board last summer, had the same similar conversation, and Tim Theberge sent out an email to all of us on September 20th of 2021 with a different document, but similar, that we would try to pilot for this very same reason that we're talking about. So this was a board directive from over a year ago.
Yes, but we never did it. So this time we'll try to actually do it. So, board chairs, if you could take a look at that template and try it out, we'd really appreciate it. Kimberly.
Can I just clarify that that was a board directive to the board? It was, yeah, I just,
That was a directive from the board to the chairs of committees of the board and not to the administration. And it still remains a directive from the board to the board.
But now we'll actually try to do it. Okay. Oh, I keep on losing my. Oh, okay. We will take a 2-minute recess. Yes.
So this template is to be done before the board meeting that we will all see, but then at the board meeting, we'll still get a report, right?
Yes, but yes. I think it, Kimberly, right? But it will allow the board chairs to do a more complete report. And I say this being one of the worst offenders when I was doing reports. My reports were terrible. So, but I think it'll give people an opportunity to take a look at the information about what went on in the meeting, before the board meeting, but it also will allow the board chairs, when they report out, to do a more complete report. Stephen.
The education committee meets on Monday nights. Should that template be filled out and delivered before the Tuesday night board meeting?
That's one of the problems we're going to face. I think that in that case, you bring it to the board meeting and then we'll put it, we'll do both. We'll put it in the folder and then you use it to read out the report.
Can I just say that Brenda's notes are extraordinarily complete and lucid. And whatever little template I fill out will look like a little mini version of what Brenda does.
Stephen, I often had to ask Brenda for her minutes in order to do my report. So I think her minutes are very useful for that purpose. Dick.
I concur that Brenda's minutes are excellent. Why don't we just send the minutes so people can read the conversation that took place?
They're draft minutes, okay? They're very rough draft minutes. They're not even the draft minutes that we get in our, that you get like in your committee meetings to be approved by your committee. And there might be other information that you want to include. Decisions, things that, like the report that Alan just did, there was a lot more information in there. There was things that the board needed to know. So, Catherine.
Well, I just want to say Alan's form I thought was very user-friendly in that it had action items. And committees are directed by the larger board to disseminate information and come back with recommendations. And there's action items on both sides of that. And I think the form that we received kind of accomplishes that, in that if we have to take action, then it's very clear from that report that there's something that we need to do as a larger group to move something forward from the committee level. And I appreciated that.
Okay, Kevin.
The committee meeting minutes are available to the public, right?
Yes.
Will these board reports written for board members, to other board members, will they be available to the public? I would
If
think they have.
requested, yeah. Well, the minutes of our meetings now are located under the board link on our website. I don't know. We haven't gotten that far yet. They'd have to be available to the public. Where we would locate them, I'm not sure.
I'm kind of where Dick is on this.
Okay. We're gonna try it anyway. Okay, 2-minute recess. Oh, we're almost done. Nope, we're almost done. Yeah. Okay, to continue with our agenda, we have just a short update on the RFI, Alan?
I'll keep this one short. Okay. Everybody knows what the RFI was. I just wanted to give an update. We took a look at, we sent it out to 14 companies. We've gotten 2 responses, which they were not very interested in it. We did not get responses from other companies, so what we're doing is taking a look at, getting their phone numbers, which we've already done. So I got all their phone numbers, their addresses, and going to be contacting them as to why we did not get a response, whether they didn't get it, whether it was lost within their internal email systems, et cetera, because these are the type of companies that will respond. Also took a look at other companies and other organizations and found 4 more that seem very good candidates to send the RFI out to. So Kevin and I will be working on that together. So we're starting to make some progress, and we will start making those calls sometime this week just to see why we have not gotten a response. We're done.
Thank you. And the next thing under new business is expense and encumbrances, and it looks like a board vote is required.
Yes. So the information was included in your packet. This, again, is reflective through the end of August, even though we're in October now. So in August, we were still finalizing placements and such, so there's still going to be some shifting in the salaries and benefits that you should see in the next report. We also have some slight overages in our electricity, and actually the fuel isn't fully expended. We are going to be watching that closely. Our electricity rate changes in November. We're entered into a new contract. Fuel prices have been dropping, and Mr. Grassi said that he just purchased quite a bit recently. But so we're just going to be watching those lines really closely as we enter into the winter season, and then you'll see fluctuations there.
Thank you, Lori. I'll entertain a motion to accept the expense report, the expense and encumbrances therein.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Dick and seconded by Catherine. All in favor?
All right?
Any nays? Any abstentions? Any discussion? Okay, the report is accepted. That brings us to our second period of public comment. Is there a member of the public that would like to address the board? Okay, thank you. Next is approval of the manifests.
All right, I certify that manifests totaling $1,503,517.26 have been reviewed by me and found to be proper charges against Kentucket Valley School District for goods and/or services received and have been properly processed prior to their submittal to the school board.
I move we approve the manifest as read.
All in favor? Any nays? Any abstentions? The motion passes unanimously. Okay, we have one non-public session. Okay. Alan, would you like to call us?
Okay.
Legal and personnel.
And personnel.
Well, it's one non-public session, 2 minutes, yeah,
Okay.
two sessions.
Move we go to non-public session under RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2 for legal and personnel.
Kevin, you want to start the roll call?
Doug?
Jim?
Janine?
Alan?
Steve?
Liz?
Greg?
Krista.
Tom, you need to, Tom, oh,